Drew, are you depressed?
Yeah.
Is it because reality continues to disappoint you between the wars and politics and fighting and arguing? Well, what if I told you that there was a solution that Apple developed?
Oh god.
That's right, Apple continues to innovate and come up with the most impressive products in the world.
Please stop.
If you're disappointed in reality, then you need to try Apple Reality Pro. For the incredibly low price of $3,000, you can enjoy Apple's view on reality. I assure you will be far more enjoyable and far more immersive.
This is a bad idea.
But of course, if Reality Pro doesn't live up to the hype, you can subscribe to Apple Reality Max, which is coming out next year and will be a far better version of Apple Reality. But of course, Apple's not stopping there. After that, we may pursue Apple Reality Ultra, which will take things to the next level. You're not even gonna need to breathe anymore.
Bye, Tim. I'm done now. This is enough.
That's okay, Drew. I can take it from here. Good morning! So if you've been following my channel for a while, you're well aware that there's been mixed reality headset rumors for years, and they have continuously been pushed back further and further, and it's been pushed back so many times that I've basically just taken the assumption that this is either a made-up leak that is meant to drive clicks for news sites, or this is an internal development tool that software engineers are using to work on Apple reality experiences, but they ultimately want the Apple glasses to be the consumer-grade product. I just had such a hard time visualizing a headset that, you know, straps to your face, and based on the most recent round of reports, because they don't want it to overheat, it has an external battery pack, and that battery pack is like bigger than a 14 Pro Max, and you're gonna put that battery pack in your pocket and then have a cable from that battery pack to the headset. And just like Apple has shown so little interest in VR, they used to have it on Macs, and then they actually took it away down the road because not that many people were using it, and Apple seems to be more interested in mobile gaming than they do any kind of AAA gaming or VR gaming. So I just kind of wrote off all of these leaks and rumors. And today, I just want to be transparent and honest with you. I'm starting to wonder if I'm wrong. Because yes, there has been a more recent round of reports surrounding the Apple Reality headset, and it's very easy for me to just assume, nope, this is crazy, it's gonna get delayed and pushed back again. But what's changing, and why I'm starting to question my own sanity, is the reports, specifically from Mark Gurman and Bloomberg, who's gotten a lot right, especially in recent history, are starting to get way more specific. You know, before it was always kind of broad. It was just like, Apple mixed reality headset, we'll have cameras, we'll have LiDAR, we'll have 8K displays, and it was always just so random and bizarre, kind of vague reports that didn't really have much substance. So I was like, this really sounds made up, and trust me, we've seen our fair share of made up leaks in the Apple tech community before, so this felt like one of those obvious ones that you could write out. But now, Bloomberg's report is getting awfully specific with like the naming. They've never really came forward with an official brand before, but now they're saying the official headset will be referred to as Apple Reality Pro. And that sounds stupid, which is why I think Apple might actually do it. Apple Reality just has such that iconic like Tim Cook / Craig Federighi optimism on the Apple brand power and how you would experience a augmented reality world that can completely cover your vision but also occasionally show what's going on around you. And then of course attaching Pro to the name for absolutely no reason is like, yeah, you know, that sounds like kind of an Apple move. And in their report, they went into way more detail than I think I've ever seen any report talk about with the mixed reality headset. Like saying that this one is going to be very different from its competitors like the Meta Quest Pro because Apple is just on a quest to destroy Meta, which I have no problem with. They should do that. But their headlining feature with this headset is that it will have eye and hand tracking that is so accurate and so good that you won't need like controllers anymore. But that also to me is a good indication of Apple not really making a headset necessarily for gaming experiences, but more for quality of life or living room demo type experiences. Again, the report is still claiming this is going to be a $3,000 headset, so I still think that Apple is pursuing a niche of a niche here, and I don't think it's going to be like the next big thing or as popular as the iPhone, or really even as popular as the Apple Watch or AirPods. But Mark Gurman was describing it as, okay, you'll be able to, pinch your fingers together to interact with devices, and it'll feel like a 3D version of iOS with apps, and you can have videos playing, and you can have Safari going, and there will be ways to type with real keyboards and trackpads that can connect to the headset. And he even discussed there being a digital crown on Apple Reality Pro, similar to like AirPods Max having a digital crown, that allows you to seamlessly and easily transition between completely a virtual environment, so you can't see what's around you, and then you can rotate it the other way and see the environment around you thanks to the external cameras. That also, to me, sounds like a very Apple-esque approach to how immersive do you want the reality experience to be. Also, just slapping digital crowns on things, because digital crowns are cool. And an idea that I've been pitching for years, not just for a headset, but also for Apple glasses, is being able to extend your macOS displays by using a headset. So you could be using your MacBook, and then with this headset on, it can add another monitor that you can paste on the wall, that you can paste in the middle of nowhere, so that you could have like a multi-monitor setup, even if you're just using your MacBook at a coffee shop or on an airplane. You're gonna look ridiculous, and everyone's gonna be pointing and laughing at you, but Apple's been pretty good at getting people to be comfortable with things, and while this one I think would definitely be the most challenging to make socially acceptable, people thought that AirPods were crazy to wear at first, but enough people wore them, and then we just kind of got used to not having the wire there, and now AirPods are super commonplace, and you see them all the time, and no one really thinks about it. But I do remember when they were first unveiled, everyone thought it was crazy and that you look stupid to have these little sticks hanging out your ears. So if anyone has the brand power to normalize using a mixed reality headset in public or just in general, it's Apple. But yeah, I still agree that having to buy a $3,000 headset is going to be a lot more niche and a lot more rare than having to buy, $100 headphones that look a little goofy. But the use cases they were pitching in their report sounded very Apple marketing-esque, like not super common, but common enough for a lot of Apple sheep out there to be like, yeah, you know what? I think I could justify that. And another indication that isn't really like concrete evidence of anything, but I'm noticing with these new MacBooks being launched in January and the new Mac Mini and everything, they're really pushing for this new Wi-Fi 6E standard. And sure, maybe Apple just really cares about having the latest version of Wi-Fi available on MacBooks, but there were talks in previous reports about the Apple mixed reality headset that it could be doing a lot of the offloading of the computational stuff onto other devices, whether it be Macs or maybe even iPhones, and it would connect to those wirelessly through Wi-Fi 6E. And if all of the rumors end up being correct about Apple Reality Pro, which I still think a lot of these have to be off, like something can't be right here, especially when they talk about things like the Apple Reality Pro will have an external mounted display that will show the eyes of the wearer. As soon as I read that, I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, you're gonna walk around with this headset on but have a display covering your eyes, showing your eyes? That's just gonna look ridiculous. So I'm like, there's gotta be some level of inaccuracy to these reports, but if they end up being accurate about Apple wanting to launch this at a spring event, whether that's March or April, rushing the release of not that interesting, not that exciting MacBooks or Mac Minis to get Wi-Fi 6E out on the market, and maybe the launch of January Macs could make a lot more sense if once the Apple Reality headset comes out, they say, well, you can use this as a monitor for your Mac, but your Mac needs to have Wi-Fi 6E, and we have some new MacBooks that are capable of handling that. And I think it would especially be like a match made in heaven with the Mac Mini, because that doesn't have a display, but if you could just buy a Mac Mini and maybe a keyboard, and you just plug in the Mac Mini, put on your reasonably priced $3,000 headset, and now that Mac Mini is doing all the heavy lifting, but it's outputting a video signal to the Apple Reality Pro, and now that's your monitor, and you don't physically need a screen anymore. Yeah, it's not gonna be more cost competitive than just buying a dedicated monitor, but that almost is starting to make more sense to me as to why Apple would do a mid-January release, because we know that this is when consumers are spending the least amount of money throughout the year, right? It's like right after the holiday season. Apple knows it's not a good idea to release stuff in January all that often, and even if it was late because they originally filmed that stuff last year, why not push it off until a spring event? Why are they launching all this random stuff now? Maybe it's to make way for the big event in the spring. And again, I'm not like 100% convinced now. Like, I'm not saying Apple Reality headset 100% confirmed. It's just the possibility of me being wrong and the idea that maybe Apple glasses, which is I think what we ultimately wanted, not a big bulky thing that covers your vision with a strap and a battery pack that you have to put in your back pocket. That wasn't ideal, but the more recent reports are saying Apple has like paused development on the glasses, and truthfully, I think that the technology may be a lot further away for those types of glasses than we originally thought. You know, something that's thin and lightweight that you can just put on and you can't even tell that someone is wearing the glasses. Maybe getting silicon that efficient and getting displays that good for your vision and getting batteries that small. Maybe the tech is just way harder and way further out than we think. Kind of like how Apple thought AirPower was a lot closer than it ended up being. So they're gonna decide to compromise and say, well, if we can't do glasses, making kind of a niche, maybe developer-focused Apple Reality Pro headset that is kind of bulky and not gonna be as universal or as accessible as an Apple Watch or AirPods, but someone might be able to find use cases for it, and this may allow us to expand on the mixed reality market by having something that doesn't require controllers and can track your hands and allow you to have real creepy FaceTime calls, because according to Gurman, it will like paste your eyes and use external cameras to map like your body and your head so that if two people are having a FaceTime call with the Reality Pro headset, it'll just feel like they're in the same room with each other. Yeah, this doesn't sound like it's gonna work, but the stars circling around my head are starting to make a little bit more sense, and I'm starting to believe this might actually happen based on how precise and how specific the report is getting instead of all of these vague, bizarre reports that we got in the past. But I will say at least that if we don't get an Apple Reality Pro headset at a spring event or at Dub Dub this year, can we just abandon this idea? Like, if we delay it literally like 4 to 5 years in a row, I'm just gonna give up all hope that this is a real thing, and I'm not completely convinced, but now there's a side of me that's starting to understand the potential of it, and I still don't think that it would sell incredibly well. I still don't think it's really worth Apple's time. I would rather them make, you know, dedicated TVs or dedicated cameras. There's other things I would rather see. I'm not super pumped about the using iOS in a 3D space or trying to have $6,000 FaceTime calls with people. That's just not what I'm passionate about, but Apple's good at convincing people to get interested in things, and they got people that were not interested in smartwatches to start buying smartwatches or not interested in wireless headphones to start buying them. So maybe Apple can change a lot of our minds on mixed reality headsets with a $3,000 one. I know, very hard to believe, and I don't think that all of the reports are accurate, but I'm curious, of course, what you guys think as well. So feel free to speculate along with me down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel over on Tailosive Tech Pro. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So this is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see y'all in the next one.